When last we left our heroes, Denir the Catman Wizard, Asmo the Snackman Fighter, Wolfgang the Angelic Warlock, and Nara the Drow Sorceress, Nidhogg, the Red Dragon of the West, appears to be causing no end of troubles in his conquest of the West, driving Wolfgang's lost wife's tribe to near extinction. The dragon also finds himself to be a pivotal piece in the struggle for Marmarian supremacy, with Ramses Palto of the North, the Royal Dragons of the South, and the chaotic force of the Jester of Bordeaux, all having their own designs on the beast. This has left our heroes in the middle of a mess without knowing who they can trust, especially after it was revealed to Wolfgang that the Royal Dragons were not only spying on him, but were the contractees of the assassination attempt on Ramses Palto. To add further to their troubles is the rising temperature of the anti-sorcerer sentiment among Silver Rock's populace, which seems to have reached a full boil as Asmo and Denir came face to face with the gruesome scene of a gore-festooned tree, a bloody cryptic message written on its trunk: "Save the children, kill the filth." We rejoin the adventure as Asmo and Denir stand before the tree covered in ravens, crows, and various carrion birds as they...
Asmo turns to Denir immediately. Please tell me you have a magical spell that can put up some ways to block people from seeing this. They want to send a message. Let's limit its impact if we shall. They want it to be seen. As was shaken, by the way. He's clearly shaken by this. I need you to, if you got anything in your repertoire, it would help right now.
I got something. And I am going to take 10 minutes, and I'm going to cast Hallucinatory Terrain.
All right. Luckily, you are in the middle of farmland right now, so it's not like this isn't a big thoroughfare for people. So, luckily, it seems like exposure here is limited.
I grabbed the guard. Is there a pathway nearby?
You're kind of sitting on a almost like a hillside clearing that sits between a couple of fields. One field was growing corn. The rest downward of this hill appears to be a vineyard for yum berries.
How many guardsmen are with me here? There's like the one who brought me, but how
There's
many?
the one that brought you. You have Urf with you. You have another guard who is just kind of standing around, keeping an eye out. The one that came to get you and the one that's standing there appear to be quite young, probably still ensigns.
Urf, take the two guys, block both sides of the road. No one comes up or down this road.
Urf. He grabs the guys and just kind of like ushers them around.
Asmo just puts his hands on his hips and just looks up at the tree and just goes, well, they didn't take the bait. Instead, they had something else in their mind. Denir. He's preparing the spell, right?
Denir's starting to gather what he needs for a spell, but he stops and looks over.
As soon as you can, and once you're done, I'll tell you what I'm about to learn.
I got 2 spells that I can do that'll help in this situation. One is
don't touch the tree. I can't have it be touched. I need it. I need to know what they left behind. They're this messy and brazen. They'll make a mistake. And even if they leave something behind, maybe they want us to see it. It's hard to say what they're going for this. I gotta go inspect it, but do your spell, please. And Asmo's gonna approach the tree.
All right. Is your okay? Go ahead and tell me.
So Asmo's gonna approach the tree. The first thing Asmo's gonna look for is essentially bones, because organs can be kind of hard to tell, especially if they mean spread out intentionally. Asmo's looking for specific skulls, bones, spines, limbs of any kind, because Asmo wants to know if this is one body or multiple bodies immediately.
All right, this will be of your choice, a survival, medical, or investigation check.
All right, let me double check which of those stats are my best. Survival, medical, or investigation, you said?
Yes. You'll learn something different based on a success in each of these.
Survival. Oh, of all the things, they're all one. Yeah. Asmo's gonna do a investigation because no, that's -1. Never mind. I'm gonna do a survival, which is 1. There we go. Jane can shoot. Nat 20, baby!
Nat 20.
My
Let's
God.
go.
Oh!
You
Damn.
begin by searching around the tree. You were correct in your assumption that the tree itself appears to only be harboring various bits of soft tissue gore. Lots of entrails.
No massive bones, though.
No massive bones, no limbs. What you find as you're looking around is you do find the what appears to be the broken head of a hatchet. You wouldn't have noticed it otherwise, but this hatchet, it looks like somebody broke the head off of the hatchet. It's covered in mud and blood, but your keen eye, the one you have left, you have trained it to a fine degree. You were able to notice the very subtle glint as it was resting in kind of like a muddy puddle beneath the tree. Again, it looks to be either like a tomahawk or a hatchet, but it does have a maker's mark still on it.
Is it lying on its side, or has it been chopped into the ground?
It looks like it broke off of whatever weapon it was used. It must have come into contact with something tougher than it, and it snapped. It's just like the front head of the axe. Or actually, it's the blade of the axe. It kind of popped off the top of it.
I'm not going to touch it yet, but Asmo makes a massive mental note of where that is physically. Just because again, touching stuff, you could contaminate it, even if for magical reasons too, actually, because it could be booby trapped. Yeah, fun. So Asmo makes a mental note of that immediately, and kind of crouches down and looks at it. And how in the water is it? Is it
it's kind of in a muddy puddle. You know how sometimes roots, when they form above the surface, they'll create that little bowl.
Yes.
It's in that, a little bowl-shaped burrow that the roots have created.
Asmo sits down and says to himself, "Now, were you left behind intentionally, or left behind in a rush? That's a question for you." Asmo is going to take his boot and kind of kick it out of the water a little bit, lightly tapping it out of the water without grabbing it with his hand. Because Asmo's trying to avoid grabbing it with his hand physically. He's going to try and take his boot and slide it out of the water up onto the side of it a little bit.
As you tap it, it seems to make no magical sort of reaction to force being applied to it.
Now, this is just the axe head. So the wood in the axe head, it's broken at the head, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right below where so I can't tell if it's an actual axe or a hatchet fully.
Yeah, it could be a hand axe, it could be a hatchet.
Okay, so
I guess technically
right.
those are kind of the same thing, but
they use a similar thing. This is why I was curious if I could tell, because if the thing's broken off, it's all right, that clearly broke off for some reason. Maybe it's completely unrelated for all we know, but Asmo kind of kicks it out of the water a little bit and just eyeballs it, because Asmo needs to do a full scan of this area.
All right, as I said, the maker's mark is still on the axe itself. The maker's mark is of the Stone Knuckle Forge.
Location is one thing, and if any, Asmo just grabbing it, kind of talking to himself. Stone Knuckle, huh? Well, me and Stone Knuckle's behind this. Maybe they just took a Stone Knuckle axe to send me on a wild goose chase, or they left it in a hurry. Which is it, I wonder? And furthermore, who's dead?
With a nat 20 in survival, I will also give you this. The axe head is a big one, but The amount of gore in this tree would need to have been supplied by at least 2 people. Based on the amount of livers you find.
Also, Asmo finds...
Yeah, you find multiple kidneys in the tree. You find 2 livers. You find lots of entrails.
I just can't believe you made a Terrifier scene for me, Nick. I can't believe you've done this. I can't... oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this. This is no ace bueno at all. Jesus. All right, Asmo's gonna... I guess he doesn't find it all within 5 seconds. It's gonna take him a couple of minutes to figure this shit out, right?
Yeah, probably within the amount of time it's gonna take Denir to cast what you want him to cast.
So Asmo just kind of like is well, like just kind of like looking up at everything without trying to touch anything, because Asmo's trying to avoid touching anything in particular. At first, that'll come later, but for right now, Asmo's just doing that.
Also, with your survival check, you would find that the bloody message, which is slowly starting to dissipate in the rain that is forthcoming, it appears to have been applied with a brush, like a painter's brush.
And that I'm not finding right now.
No, there's no brush around you.
So this is like a full-on, like, standard handle, one-handed brush, correct? Like that's like, you know,
like something that you would like, you know, paint a fence with. One of those.
There you go. That's
brushes.
whatever. That's...
Yeah.
The question is, how high up is the message?
It's painted on the trunk of the tree.
That's what I assume.
Probably at about like an average medium creature's reach height.
So what does it look like? The person now, so based on what I'm looking at here, now based on the way the actual text is that they did it seem like the tops of the letters were lighter, but the bottom of the letters were much heavier because they were pulling down to themselves, or did it seem like they were able to casually strike it? You know what I mean, right? Where like someone, if they have to tiptoe up, essentially to paint, or if they're able to paint more standing. That's an odd question.
I'm trying to think of what one might roll for that level of insight.
You could let me do an investigate on that one.
Sure, go ahead and give me an investigate, because that does require a bit of book knowledge.
Yeah. That's why I was like, am I able to ask that question? Is because I'm just trying to go.
You're always able to ask the question. I just need to figure out how to resolve it.
Alrighty. So all right, if I get a nat 20, the game's broken. By the way, okay, that's the way it works. All right, Jane can shoot. 12.
12? What knowledge you have of painting graffiti from your past, of you know, just doing like random odd jobs every now and again to, you know, make a living. It does not look like this person was painting in much of a rush. It does not look like they were struggling to reach.
So it doesn't look like they were struggling to reach? Okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm standing in front of it, is it just above Asmo's head slightly, the message?
It's kind of at like about around eye and chest level.
Oh, vague enough that I can't quite tell. Okay. Well, thank you for letting me know that. Okay. Okay. And there's no brush around either, so they took the brush with them. Now, let me ask you this question. Asmo's going to start moving around the tree a little bit further away, and see if there's any blood drippings or blood splatters anywhere. Further away from the tree, because obviously when you get closer to the tree, yeah, it's everywhere. But further away from the tree, I want to see if there's any dripping blood. Because if there was a brush and it's not there, that means they took it with them, and either they put it in a bag or a pocket, or they had it in their damn hand.
All right,
so,
it is starting to rain a bit, so I will need you to make another survival check.
Okay, alrighty. All right, can someone blow on this dice real quick here for good luck? I really do need that. Thank you, Bob. 7. Ah, shit, 7. Okay, well.
At this point, it's kind of hard to tell what blood, like, what's around you has been messed with. You do see that, like, there is a path that doesn't seem to be very particularly, like, super well traveled. Maybe like the farmer would come out here, or like to read or just enjoy some time in the shade during a busy work day. But unfortunately, after the rains have come for a little bit, you don't see any more signs of blood in terms of finding a trail.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay. I guess Asmo is just gonna keep observing until Danier's done his spell work, because Asmo's not gonna go down that path without backup. He's not that dumb.
Danier, what are you casting?
I looked over the list. I do not have hallucinatory terrain memorized today, but what I do have, just as good, is Private Sanctum.
Excellent.
So what's going to happen is after the spell goes off, it's a 100 by 100 foot area, so it should have enough to cover the entire tree. No sound will pass through the barrier of the warded area. The barrier will be warded with darky fog, which prevents vision, including dark vision. Divination sensors cannot appear inside the area or pass through the barrier. Creatures can't be targeted. Creatures in the area cannot be targeted by divination spells. Nothing can teleport in or out, and nothing can plane or travel in or out.
Yeah, that is a very good means of blocking.
Yep.
So your people can go in. Once that goes up, Earth begins to usher some of the boys back, and they just begin guarding the fogged-over dome.
Asmo, I'm guessing Asmo is okay.
Oh, you're still there to issue commands.
Okay.
So basically, Asmo, as you're doing your investigations, all of a sudden fog starts rolling in, and it starts building up this giant dome around the tree.
That's your spell, right?
Danier's outside. You can't see him or hear him.
Oh, that better be his spell.
But after about 30 seconds, he'll wander in. Is this what you're looking for?
I'm happy that was you. For about 30 seconds there, I was preparing for the reality that this was a trap and I'm about to be jumped here. So, yeah, that will do.
Before you walked in, you did get a really cool visual of you scared about half the birds in the tree, and they're just like flying out of this plume of smoke was about 25 or 30 ravens.
He thinks for a moment. He thinks about using ravens for illusions, for magical attacks, for just a second before he wanders in. So nobody can see in, nobody can hear in. As long as your boys keep people out, they won't be able to see anything. And this thing will last for 24 hours, so we have time to work.
So, as far as I'm making out it here, there's 2 bodies worth of blood. Based on the amount of organs I'm seeing, too, including repeated successions of some. Yes. There's a hatchet right there. It's broken at the head. I don't know if that was left intentionally or accidentally. Everything feels particular, and in the moment here, the hatchet head. Was it left in a rush or was it not? The reason why I bring this up, and the reason why I'm saying all this to you, is there are no limbs or heads, bones, at all. This is blood and organs and skin and meat, no bones.
So the bodies were butchered somewhere else and they were brought here.
Now that's the problem. I would believe that. And that's how they did it. If not for this. And Asmo points at the hatchet head, the bloody hatchet head. I would believe that if that wasn't there. Which leads me to believe that That might be a misnomer, or that might be the key to it all. I need you to examine it for magic. Anything you can do to examine it.
I could.
As far as I'm concerned, something magical happened here.
I could see if it's magic. I could also, if it's considered a possession, I could potentially try to scry the owner of the hatchet. It's a long shot, but it's something I could
don't
try.
worry, we don't have to scry who owns it. Straight out of the Stone Knuckle Forges.
Well, they made it.
No, that's all we know, is the thing was made by the Stone Knuckles. Not accusing them of anything. Yet.
They sell, he sells plenty of tools across all the farmers. I mean, every farmer buys their tools from the Stone Knuckle Forge.
Exactly.
Could have also been stolen from a farmer, but...
There you go. That's also what I'm dealing with here. So I need you to examine this the best you can. Take your time. I need you to be very thorough about this, because as far as I'm concerned, magic took place here. Of some kind or some format. My heart of hearts, I believe it. Because where's the bone? Where are the bones?
I'm going to go ahead and take some time, and
As was clearly worried, like the lack of bones is throwing him real hard right now.
I cast Detect Magic, Lani.
The axe is entirely mundane.
That's what I figured.
Is there anything magical inside the dome?
No. Well,
Okay.
the blood on the tree and the organs.
The blood,
But just
and organs?
just in terms of them being residually magic. There is magic within that blood.
Fuck. All right. Well.
A look of anger flashes across Daenerys' face. Asmo, you better find these people before I do.
As was standing there with his arms crossed, looking at the tree and the message.
I'm willing to bet these are students at the academy. The organs, the blood, everything has a residual magic to them. These were sorcerers.
I'm asking you a question directly on this one. Aside from basic teleportation magic, how is it that there are no bones present here? If the butchery took place right here. They took the bones with them?
I have pure speculation.
That's all I got right now.
The bodies could have been butchered, and the bodies could have been butchered someplace else, and the blood and bones brought here. It could have been necromancy, where the skeletons were enchanted to be lifted from the corpses. That may be why the blood and everything is magically residual. Lani, what is there any kind of particular school for the residual magic in the blood?
It's honestly, it's just neutral magic. It's legitimately the same kind of magic you would find if you cut up in your own veins or just looked at a sorcerer.
Okay.
Yep, look right there. That's some magic right there.
Could be necromancy. I mean, necromancy, you can enchant a skeleton to actually climb out of the flesh that they were once in.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure people would have seen that, though. This was done quietly.
Maybe something ate the bones?
There'd be signs of that around here. There's no other path.
There's no prints of anything, correct?
With your nat 20, you did not notice anything in the general vicinity of the tree that would suggest that there was something consuming the bones or even any bone fragments.
There's not even fragments of bone, Daenerys. It's one thing if a limb or two are missing, but it's not even an iota. Not a little bit. Even if they just chopped up the bodies and brought a torso here, there would be bits of the torsos. If they chopped up the body, they couldn't clean that up that way. Shit. There's a path over to this side here. Earth's guarding this with all the other guys, so if you're okay with me going, I want you to come down with me that path. It's the nearest one. And it leads me to believe that if someone was nearby, they might have taken that pathway. It's raining lightly, so any blood trail is gone more or less, so we can wander down that pathway a little bit to see what happens.
All right. I do want to eventually investigate this hatchet head. I might be able to pick something up from it. But that's going to take time.
As Asmo just kind of wraps his hand, pulls a rag out of his pouch, and just wraps. He wraps the hatchet in the rag, and he goes, "Got a bag to put it in?"
Oh yeah, I've got plenty.
Good.
And he'll
put
take
it in
the
there.
hatchet head.
Let's go see what's down that pathway, even though it's probably nothing.
Asmo slinks on down. Starts wandering down that pathway, and Asmo's going to be even though it's raining, Asmo's going to be looking to see if there's any signs of recent disturbance with the snapped twigs, snapped anything, footprints, crushed grass.
All right. Go ahead and give me a survival check. The two of you can.
6. Beans.
15.
Yeah, the rain appears to be messing with a lot of stuff. Like the path is slightly muddy. It does look like this path is traveled a bit. It leads downward towards what looks to be a storage shed in the middle of the farmland. Denier, what you see is see, with a 15, the tracks you are treading on don't appear to be super fresh, but who knows how long the tree had been like that.
Okay, so we're going down a hill, and we're looking at that shed in the middle of the farmland. Where is the nearest big building in comparison to that shed?
Nearest big building?
If we can see one at all.
Oh, you absolutely can. I mean, this is kind of like a hilly sort of farmland that you're on. You're kind of in like the middle hill chunk. If you look up the hills, you're kind of on this like little flat plain of area, which is good for growing flatland crop like corn. But as you look up, the area gets hillier. It appears to be much more of a vineyard up towards the main farmhouse and the barn that sits up at the top of it. The farmhouse and barn sit probably about 80 to 90 yards away from you from here.
Okay.
The shed itself, as you travel downwards, probably another 30 or 40 yards away.
Okay,
It's a very big. It's a large plot of farmland.
Asmo turns to Denier.
I want to check out the shed for a hunch I might have, or I'll be disproven. Either way, we also need to talk to that farmer right now, because if there was actual bodies, the chopping and the killing took place last night. Guess who might have heard something?
Asmo points up at the house.
But as far as I'm concerned, I still think something magical took place here, so we'll see how far my hunch takes me.
Asmo walks towards the shed in the middle of the field.
All right, making your way towards the shed. Go ahead and give me another survival check.
5, a whopping 5. Fuck. Good roll. Now bad rolls. Well, there you go.
Denier, would you like to make another one?
Sure. Denier would have casted a spell, but he would have followed right after Asmo immediately after. So let me go ahead and make that roll.
Which spell?
Sending.
Oh.
He would have casted Sending to Thermian Hazelfar.
Haslafar? No spells can reach him where he is. Oh, sorry. I got mistaken. Yes, go ahead and deliver your message to him. I mistook the name.
Yeah, that's Theradoc, I believe.
Sorry. Brain fart. Been having a lot of those lately.
It's all good.
Heat's fucking our brains up, man.
I need to get back on my meds.
I don't know if I should laugh at that.
No.
I need a list of.
Okay.
I need a list of every student unaccounted for. I found blood with magical residue. I need to know who's missing.
That's horrible news. I have the list. He pauses for a moment. Gideon Rook, Kylan Frosk, Aiden Moore. Those 3 haven't returned yet.
Gideon Rook, Kylan Frost, Aiden Moore. You
Frosk.
said, Lenny?
Yes, Frosk with a K.
Okay, Frosk. And as he gets the notes, he will follow after Asmo and make that survival check.
Do you tell Asmo about the...
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, 8. Oh, shit. Okay. Well, we tried.
And 8, as you approach the shack, it appears to be used a lot, often by farm hands, things like that. So the area around here is much more well traveled than the path you were just on.
Is it locked?
As you walk up and try the door, there is a very rudimentary lock on the front of it. Yes.
Well, I'll have to be forgiven. That's what kicks it in. All right,
Athletics check.
Well, gonna have to apologize. Probably not gonna be the worst thing this guy's gonna find out about. Athletics, all right. That's a 16.
It's a pretty strong lock, but you manage to kind of splinter the clasp around it. The lock itself doesn't break, but you do manage to splinter the part of the door that was holding the lock. So you're able to kind of push the door in.
All right, so looking inside, I'm guessing this is where they have different supplies and tools. Is there any of the tools out of their place?
As you look inside, your eyes adjust to the darkness inside of the shed. It's a decent-sized shack, probably about the size, let's see, maybe 3 meters by 3 meters. It's a decent size. Along one wall, you have like a rack with a bunch of tools on it. There appears to be piles of bags of manure and various elemental fertilizers kind of stacked throughout here. Jugs of various alchemical means and crates, baskets, and lots of storage crates that one might use to carry, go about harvesting certain items. As far as wanting to see if anything is missing, that would be investigation checks for you both. Survival if you want to look for other things.
Well, Asmo, his -1 investigation for being a sheriff. This is not the best stat to have. For being
you're a coordinator. You're not a detective.
21 investigation.
That was with advantage, right, Nick?
No, unfortunately. But Denier is quite studied. Looking around this area, it does appear that there are a few tools missing from the rack, or at least there are some blank spots there that are unaccounted for. What appears to be maybe some tree trimming material, like tools. A garden hoe appears to be missing.
Is there an axe still present on the wall?
Yes, there is an axe currently present within these within the shed itself. As you're investigating, Denier, you're looking around. There are a few sets of alchemical materials that you find a little strange.
Just for flavor, Asma just goes, hunch is wrong. Would have assumed they took the axe from the local place to try and put the blame on somebody else. Looks like they still have theirs, so I just kicked in the wrong door. What a waste of time. What are you looking at?
There's alchemical ingredients over here.
As you're looking through these jars of chemicals, some of them make sense. I mean, like, they have various magical fertilizers and things like that. But one of the about 10 of the jugs along this wall appear to be I mean, they're labeled absurdly wrong, basically, just for what color is inside of them. Like, they appear to be labeled, growth formula or something like that. But the chemical inside does not look right to you who has worked in potions workshops and things at this point.
Can I roll like an Arcana check to identify what these chemicals are?
Trying to think if Arcana is correct. I guess Arcana could get you at least to a basic root.
16.
This formula does not appear to be magical in terms of enhancing any growth or any nature magic whatsoever. This is alcohol.
Okay, that makes it... Well, okay, sorry. That's not my question to ask.
This appears to be a yumberry alcohol of some sort, whether it be wine or some other variant of fermented liquor.
Asmo, we've got some yumberry hooch.
No, that's not what I was expecting. Asma looks at all the drums. Now, yumberry alcohol, it's not illegal, is it?
It is. It's very illegal. It's literally alcohol that tastes like whatever you want something to taste like right now. It is a very dangerous substance.
Wow. So, let me put this together here, Denier, if you will, before we go up to that house and ask some questions. It just so happens that a couple 100 feet away from a murder site, a very open display, there happens to be what appears to be a horde of illegal drugs. Now, I'm not one for special circumstances, but that's a little bit odd, don't you think?
Seems a little bit suspicious.
Tell you what. Well, what kind of jugs are they? The glass or like?
They appear to be in kind of like a clear glass with a basically like a giant bottle, like one of those big jug-like bottles, like like a 3 liter handle.
See, this is where I Aslan would love to lash them all together with some rope and drag them up with him for want to tell me about this here, sir?
You could absolutely take at least one with you. I mean, he has probably about 10 to 15 gallons worth of it. One of the bottles appears to have been tapped into.
Fun fact: those jugs are called carboys.
Ah, well, there we go.
Asmo's like, excuse me. Asmo starts taking the bottles and putting them right outside the storage, just grabbing them each individually. You can help if you can, Denier, please. Grab me here. I got something in mind.
He will.
There is a wheelbarrow in there if you wish. Actually,
Oh,
no. Actually,
even
sorry.
better.
I'm sorry. That is one of the tools that was missing. Is a wheelbarrow.
Oh! Is there like a wheelbarrow or anything? Where's the wheelbarrow?
I don't see one.
Really?
That's why my notes. Okay, they have one wheelbarrow, but the one that appeared to be parked next to it is missing. That's what Daenerys would have noticed also.
Huh. How about that? So Aslan's gonna put all the Yumberry wine right outside the storage thing and grab one of them and be like, "All right, Didier, come with me. We're gonna go talk to whoever this is. Do you know who lives here? You're better at remembering these logistics than I am."
Either of you go ahead and give me either investigation or history.
God damn it! All right,
I know they're basically the same thing unless you have. Daenerys,
Not one.
Oh,
you don't keep up with the rural folk, Daenerys.
16.
That'll probably get it to you. Let me look at my notes here. This is the Green Fringe Farm.
The Green Fringe Farm. Okay.
You don't know the owner's first name, but you do know that his last name is Green Fringe.
That's an interesting last name. Okay.
I've also got a lead on who the victims are.
No, yeah, no. So is it who? So who are the two missing from school?
There's 3 missing from school.
Asmo looks literally his eyes bloodshot when he hears that. Like just his pupils shrink.
Shit.
I'm about to send a message to all 3 of them and see if any of them reply back.
Shit, you're gonna have to do that here.
Yeah. How long of a walk will it be to that house? I'm guessing it'll take us like what, 5 minutes?
It'll take you a few minutes. You're going uphill in the rain.
Asmo's gonna grab one of those jugs and put it on it. They just carry it in his hand.
Just one for the road.
Well, no, Asmo's gonna do a thing with this guy. Don't worry.
I
Don't
got
worry. Don't worry. But Asmo like camped all the jugs in a nice little pile there for a reason. Don't worry.
Urf, who's been standing outside the dome, sees you walk out, and he sees you carrying stuff.
Earth, maintain perimeter. This people right here, this is the Mr. Green Fringe here, had something messed up happen on his property. It's time to ask him how much he knew about it, because it might be nothing at all. But we're about to find out real quick here, because guess what we found? A metric fuckload of it. Asmo holds up. Delicious growth formula. Yumberry. Looks like we got ourselves a dealer. And looks like the bodies are on a drug dealer's property. So, time to find out whether that was a willing participant or a hopeful casualty in their little game, whatever's being played here. Now, maintain. Can you maintain it? If anyone asks what's going...
He gives you a salute.
If anyone asks what's going on, just tell them that public safety is at risk because of the rain.
Asmo
He
winks.
gives you a nod.
There you go. He's waiting with Daenerys. He's so good at convincing people. He's just got this way with people. I can't reiterate it enough. It's fantastic. Send your messages.
Earth is absolutely eloquent. Trust me, I know. Daenerys remembers
so much chess. He's so good at chess.
Daenerys remembers Earth's dream for just a moment and how eloquently he spoke in the dream as Daenerys prepares his messages. So it's. Go ahead.
No. You do your thing, man. You do your thing.
It's going to be the same message to all 3 people. He's going to cast one, wait for a couple minutes for a response, cast the next, wait a couple minutes, cast the next. The message is basically going to say, you've been missing from school. We're checking in to make sure you're safe. If there's anything, is there anything we need to know? Are you okay?
They can only reply if they're conscious, right?
I believe so, yes. Let me go ahead and cast the sending spell for you. And I assume that I will know if the sending message went successfully and connected, but there was no response, or if it had no target.
Let's see. Send a sort 25 words or less to a creature with which you are familiar. The creature hears the message in its mind, recognizes you as the sender if it knows you, and can answer it in a like manner immediately. The spell enables creatures with intelligence scores of at least 1 to understand the meaning of your message. You can send the message across any distance and even to other planes of existence, but if the target is on a different plane than you, there is a 5% chance the message doesn't arrive. It doesn't say anything on here about whether or not you know it gets recepted.
That makes sense. I can see that just being a way of, like, you can just send messages to check to see if people are even present, and that could be, like, a game-breaking power. I could easily see that being abused in games.
Fair.
Yeah.
I will say that as you make your march up to the house, your heartbeat quickens in a sort of panic as one after the other, you get no reply. Your heart feels like it's in its throat as you and Asmo step up the muddy path, walking through the vineyard towards the dimly lit farmhouse. And here is where we will swap over to Nara.
Yeah, good. That was awesome. All right.
Nara, you, the guide, and Dedra are still sitting in the room. The guide just kind of staring over Dedra. Once again, you're in a room where your powers are feeling slightly more out of reach than usual.
Okay.
You feel kind of a disconnect from your shadow. It's not something you wouldn't be able to overpower should you desire. But you can tell that there is some sorcerous arcane dampening within this room. As you and the guide stand over Nara, or Dedra, excuse me.
Dedra.
Yeah, you stand over yourself. Now, from down the hallway, you hear fast footsteps and kind of a panicked tone. Muttering out loud, "I have the list. 1 moment." As Thurvian Haslafar runs past the door that you just came through.
Nara will immediately perk up at that, since if her intuition was correct about it, then there's a problem. She's gonna pick up Dedra, motion to the guide, and follow Haslafar down the hallway. And just listen.
You crack open the door. Are you trying to do this unobserved? Or do you
yeah.
not really care? Okay, then go ahead and give me a stealth check.
Okay. Stealth. Oh, I'm so good at that. Oh, a 21!
Holy moly.
Yes, you are quite good at that. As he doesn't appear to be paying a whole lot of attention to the things behind him. You see him get to the edge of the hallway where the banister is that leads to the spiral staircase that leads down, and he just makes a running leap. And as you make it to the end of the hallway, you see as he sort of like very gracefully glides to a stop at the bottom and grabs a scroll of paper from the little halfling man that you met on the way in. He starts to read it over.
What do my elf eyes see? Can I see that far?
With your elf eyes, probably. Give me a perception check.
Okay. 23.
Yes, your elf eyes are very good.
Okay, great.
You see written, scrolled on the paper in a very fine script. Absentees: Gideon Rook, Kylan Frosk, and Aiden Moore.
And that's the student missing list that she asked him to put together, or asked if he had.
Yeah, the absentee list.
Oh boy.
Further, your eyes see as he turns around. He's always had a very kind expression on his face, but right now there is this grim look across his face. This, go ahead and give me an insight with this, because you're able to make out the minute expressions of his face, but the overall tendencies of his nature are still, that's a completely different thing entirely.
17.
Let's see. It's less worry and more a very deep-seated anger that seems to be crossing through his eyes. There seems to be a fire burning inside of him at the thoughts of potentially any of those on that list being harmed. A vengeful sort of fire.
Okay.
Do you hide away if he starts to look up again?
Yeah.
With your stealth check, you and the guide and Dedra would easily be able to make it back to the room.
Was he going somewhere after that?
He appeared like the look you got on his face. He seems to be lost in that for a moment. He appears to be fairly indecisive, but if you move away as soon as his eyes start to move, fearing that he might look up and see you spying on him, then you probably wouldn't see where he would go after that.
She will duck out of his sight and then act like she just came down the hall.
Okay, so you just kind of like you whip back to the corner and then you slowly come back out holding Dedra in your arms. We will move to Wolfgang Connolly. That is your full name.
It is.
I never asked your middle name.
I'm Arachius.
Arachius. Wolfgang Arachius Connolly.
Amarachius.
Amarachius. Wolfgang Amarachius Connolly. All of the world's weight feels as though it is on your shoulders at the moment. Surrounded by those that you cannot trust. Talia has left your office. Has left the conference room. The fresh scar on the wall where you cleaved into the divination stone, a fresh reminder of how untrusting the world is. You don't know what lies outside the doors should you leave them. But at some point you'll have to.
Yeah. Yeah. Are there any, like, daily duties that I would need to take care of? Or can I...
The Kylum, the Kylum's day-to-day, though you may butt heads at times, is very well overseen by Pogan, who, essentially while you are the headmaster of the Kylum Diaboli, he is essentially the vice principal who oversees the day-to-day while you are overseeing the entire city. So there are plenty of day-to-day tasks. Like, I mean, there's paperwork for you to fill out in your office. God only knows, but... if that's something that you would go to fill your mind, like, just to kind of take your mind off of things...
I mean, there's not really a lot that Wolfgang himself could do at this moment. He's already said the things he needs to say. He's already set things in motion. He doesn't know about the tree, so... trying to think of what Wolfgang would be doing at this moment.
Now, all of your companions are off dealing with their own
Very-
business that you have no idea.
I'm assuming everyone's having a swell day. It was a great It was a great celebration yesterday. Nothing untoward happened. I'm in a great place right now. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna lower my security around me. It's my best Wolfgang.
Good job.
Puppy.
I think Wolfgang would be, there's not really...
I would imagine with
I think
Wolfgang
he's
just
probably-
going to get.
Sorry, let him.
Sorry.
He's probably just going to be doing some paperwork to try and clear his head. Just
All right,
to get his order of operations set up. He's like, okay, so... werewolves, then the dragon...
You step out into the halls and just kind of like start walking through the world, kind of buzzing around you, almost as though like you're kind of on autopilot as you're walking down to your office. Like people in the hallway, they stop, they salute you. You might absentmindedly salute them back. Some even might try to drum up a conversation, but in your own head is this tinnitus-like hum as you just kind of make your way to your office. And you sit down, and sure enough, there's a pile of paperwork there. Contracts by which, the school will often make money in its mercantile monster hunting ways.
Yeah, he'll probably just take one from the top of the pile and he'll slide it over, and then he'll write down like a note to himself, talk to Flix, inquire with Amberglade.
Well, if you request the presence of Flix, she would make time to come up there as you are.
Is she working in the
Filing-
same building?
She doesn't work in the same building. She kind of does her own thing, however she wants to. But
She's got her own land.
yeah, she's always just a call away, and she's a gnome who is quite proficient in her own tricksy sorts of magic, so it would not
did
take
break
her
us
very
into the
long to
city.
show up. The contract that you're looking over involves what appears to be sorry, looking over this thing. Looks like a troll hunt just outside of Wild's Edge.
Oh, a troll hunt. Wow.
Just outside of Wild's Edge, well, we're gonna need to clear up that area, make it less dangerous if we're gonna have an influx of people. Approved.
Stamp.
Meme. Approved.
There's a knock just below your doorknob, a very dainty knock.
Come in.
Doorknob turns and in walks Flix. Seems the scaly ones have left us for now.
Little Flix.
Hello, Lord Connolly. She smiles as she closes the door behind her and hops up onto the chair in front of your desk. She stands up for a moment and then kind of conjures a little cube for her to sit on top of the chair.
I realize that you and the dragons aren't exactly on the best of terms.
No, they kind
But
of left my grandfather to rot after stealing his land. Leaves a bit of a sore taste in one's mouth.
I'd imagine it would. However, I still did want to speak to you.
I'm all ears.
Would you happen to know if your old running crew's network would be set up in the west, the far west?
Not a lot to smuggle out that way. But I can put some ears out there. There have been cases where things have needed to move that way. And from that way. Not unheard of. Something out that way that you need?
Not really need. More like, there are some people that are in trouble over there. They don't have any way to get out here. And so I'm exploring my options to see if I can get them from there to here.
I think that can be worked one way or another. It's a little difficult moving lots of people through the Nexus, but... especially for those untrained, it can be quite dangerous. You see the, kind of a distant haunting cross her face.
Yeah, he recognizes that. He even realizes that he personally killed her friend that fell in.
What was left of him, anyway.
Yeah. Well, as dangerous as it is, I need to keep my options open on this.
I'll see if any of the old pathways are open.
I'd be grateful.
There's been a lot of upheaval out that way. Not sure how many of the stones are still in place. But if there are any, I'll find them. Might take me a day or so, though.
Well, we've got time as it is, so I appreciate you looking into this for me.
Is that all you wanted to see me for, sir?
That, and I just wanted to say, even though the dragons may be our benefactors, I'm not going to let anybody take what is yours.
She smiles at that. I appreciate that. Do you... You've worked with them for a long time. Do you believe that they mean for the greater good of everything? That they want everyone to be happy?
He sort of taps his pen piece of paper idly as he chews over that question in his head.
$1 million question. $1 million question.
I think they do. I think they mean well. I think they want people to be happy, healthy, live good lives. But when you've been around for as long as they have, when you've been doing this for as long as they have, I'd imagine your perspective gets skewed.
I think therein lies the problem. They've been around for over 1,000 years. They think they know what's best. But they don't know what it's like to have years pass you by. To get old. To die. I don't know how they look at you, but I imagine they look at most people like animals. Same way you might look at a dog.
Comforting.
I just don't trust them.
Well, it's a healthy mindset to be skeptical of authority. I know that sounds strange coming from me.
Oh, I'm always skeptical of authority, dear. How do you think I ended up where I am?
Still, answering your question, I do think they mean, and I think they're willing to listen. To criticisms. But right now, it's tumultuous.
Are you trying to imply anything while saying this stuff without outright saying it? Because there are a few choice words in there that I was picking up on.
I think he's trying to imply that he thinks I think he was trying to imply with his words that he thinks the dragons could be doing a better job, and maybe they need to come back down to earth.
All right, I was mostly like thinking about the way you paused after saying "listen" and then how things could be tumultuous. I was wondering if you were trying to put a coded message in there that like they might have fucking ears in this room, man.
I think he was more meaning that he's got a lot on his plate right now.
Gotcha. I will not roll for her inference then.
You passed the inference test.
Woo. She nods. Well, as always, I leave it to you. I'll let you know if I come across anything.
Thank
She
you.
hops up off the chair. Of course, anytime. And she leaves the room.
Or does she? No. Okay.
You never know with flicks. Might have just been a shadow double that left the room.
Whoa, who crazy?
Maybe the real flicks never even showed up.
Maybe we never met her and she's been a
double
doppelganger
crazy.
the whole time.
Triple crazy.
That'd be insane.
Well, after Flix leaves the room, Wolfgang will continue penning a missive to the folks of Amberglade to see if they could be did we want to try and get the refugees to Amberglade, or were we seeing if we could get the fucking
You were looking to see if you could get use of their teleportation portal ready. But hey, never know. Maybe they're willing to accept new people.
eh?
Other than that, there's the lands around and outside of Wild's Edge, kind of the southern edge of Flix's territory. There are the, there's a small trading post kind of around here-ish. It's not really a large town, but could grow into one. There are options for finding places for refugees. The question is, like, how will the locals integrate with the wild folk of the West, essentially?
Yeah. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the people in Wild's Edge weren't receiving my letters.
For the most part, they were like turning away anybody that looked too official, just telling them to fuck off.
It's not our vibe, man.
Yeah, what letters that were received, you never got replies to.
Gotcha.
It's a very lawless place, and they don't like it when official, shiny-looking people showing up with official missives from government bodies.
Well, Wolfgang will probably pencil in some time to head that way. Physically.
Oh, okay. All right, neat. All right.
It's a couple days journey by foot.
What about with my motorbicycle?
With my motorcycle.
Once you can get on a straightaway, or if you can get somebody to build you a tunnel, like a sick tunnel that goes straight through the mountains.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, just like a nice bat K that rides straight out.
Da,
On your motorbike, again, you're probably looking at like at least an overnight trip. Like once you're there, it'll be evening, and you'd want to rest up before riding back. Like that's at least a day trip.
Okay. Yeah, he'd probably have to schedule around that for a little bit.
Yeah, they'd have a hard time telling you or anybody in this party to directly fuck off. Or a harder time.
Harder time.
All right, with that, while you pen your message, Kaylin, you said you were back, right?
Yes, I am.
What? Oh,
Okay, yay! I'm like, oh no, is she gone again?
The minute I started speaking,
Yes, I. All right.
I'm here.
So, essentially, you walk out of the hallway after hiding yourself from his glance to step back out and just act like you have just shown up. Right?
Yes.
As you do, that angry look across his face seems to disappear in almost an instant, like a calming salve was just put over his spirit somehow. And he looks up and just gives you kind of a curt smile. Is everything going well up there?
Oh yeah, just saying hi and whatnot. You all right?
Bit of trouble with some missing students. I should attend to this in my office, I believe. And he starts going up this. He grabs the handrail and mutters something, and then he begins to.
Did I hear it?
Perception?
Oh, not 1, 13.
He said it really quickly, and kind of under his breath. It appeared to be some command to the staircase to take him somewhere.
Ah, got it.
But you have no idea what that command was, but he is far above your head right now on one of the upper floors.
She looks up at the guide.
Did you catch that?
He looks over to you. I wasn't really trying to.
Yeah, I thought so.
He looks back down to Dedra and he gives like a wide smile.
Right. We haven't talked about all that yet. Shall we go back in the room and figure things out?
Certainly. And he gestures you to lead the way.
And she'll head back into the room, not knowing anything else about any other problems that are currently happening.
You know that something about the missing students is really bothering him. Something very much about it is really bothering him. You got that much.
Oh boy.
As you enter the room, once again, this room that they're starting to kind of fit for Dedra is like they're starting to try to like paint it some like nice gentle colors, kind of almost Easter pastel-y sort of like vibe. It's kind of it's really gross color palette to you. The room is covered in a bunch of like soft things, like little mimicked stuff, rabbits and tiny fluffy creatures and stuff.
Nara looks around in disgust and looks at Dedra.
Do you like this room?
She just kind of she looks up at you, looks around, just kind of like gives like a, you know, that kind of shrug where the ears dip down and as the shoulders dip up, like that, I guess. Yeah. Kind of shrug. The one thing that she still keeps in like her little area, that little stool that you found her sitting on earlier, is that that same raggedy doll that she had.
Okay. Nara will inspect the raggedy doll, I suppose.
That's just a very cheap raggedy doll. Appears to be made out of old reused clothing articles that probably disintegrated over time. One button-patched eye.
And this is something she had when I picked her up, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah.
She went to go get it?
Yeah, just a creepy little raggedy doll.
Did your mom give that to you?
She nods.
The guide has a test he wants you to take real quick. Okay?
She nods and then looks up to the strange man who's just been kind of shame wizard floating this whole time. He kind of like wanders over to her, kneels down, looks her over. He reaches out his finger as it blackens with a the tip of his finger blackens, almost like a frostbite.
Okay.
In his already like deep black olive colored skin. And he starts to reach towards her shadow. And he touches it. Nothing seems to react right away when he does that. He takes the same finger and he starts to move it towards the child's arm. And at that point, you can see the shadow start to bristle around her ankles and feet. He doesn't touch.
Okay.
He doesn't touch her with the finger, but he gets the finger close to her as if he was about to, and that shadow starts to bristle. Yes, her powers are very similar to yours, though the circumstances I imagine that she came by them were quite different.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Based on her situation, I would imagine that it's her mom. The desperate situation thing you were talking about.
Yes, you said she was murdered.
Yeah.
He looks... Dedra, of course, does not respond to that.
Of course.
Emotionally, she seems very distant to this. As he glances her over. Were you there when it happened, child? Single nod. Was she protecting you at the time? Her eyes go hazy for a moment. They kind of glance around and she blinks a few times. And she slowly shakes her head.
Was anyone there when she passed away? Or anyone else?
She nods. Kind of a quicker nod. And her eyes... give me an insight check.
Okay. 15.
Her eyes seem to focus very hard for a moment. Like they kind of like flicker almost, you know, like when your eyes just do that little vibrate when you're thinking about something too hard.
Yeah.
It's like she just for a moment revisualized the trauma. Of watching her mother get bludgeoned to death. Before her eyes just calm down and they just go placid again.
Was it your father?
She nods.
But it was just your mother and father there. No one else.
She nods.
So how did this happen?
My guess would be she had the power inside her to begin with, the latent link to Arcana. In that moment of panic, watching the one she most dearly loved depart the world, her body probably couldn't take it, her mind couldn't take it, so she clung to her and kept her.
Oh.
That's my current theory.
Huh. But wouldn't there be a... You know, my shadow has some awareness of what's going on. It doesn't seem like hers does.
Your mother was a high priestess to Mother Death. She already had a deep connection to the other plane, spiritually. Perhaps her abilities, her power, allowed her to better manifest within you as your powers grew. And I think her powers are still quite new. But as he re-blackens his finger and starts to move it towards her, and then he points to the shadow around her ankles as it starts to bristle, there is a defensive tendency to the spirit connected to her.
And it's somewhat dampened in this place, too.
Indeed.
Would she do better learning with you?
leans back for a moment.
I don't know if this school is necessarily equipped to deal with this type of magic.
I would not turn away the chance to train such young talent. She is truly gifted in the arts that Mother Death wields.
She also will be less afraid of the things that will come with it if she isn't in a place like this.
She looks around the room.
Yes. This is unsettling. Is this how humans live?
Some of them. Apparently these ones.
Gross.
I agree.
Hey,
You're a snake.
it's not true.
Yeah, shh.
Nay. He pauses for a moment. I would love to teach this young one, but were I to be honest, perhaps the answer lies somewhere in the middle. The people here are probably better equipped to understand the nature of her basal powers. I, on the other hand, may be better equipped to teach her of the gifts that Mother Death can impose upon her enemies. And those that
So-
need it, of course.
Split school is what I'm hearing.
I would not be opposed to academic extracurricular activities. And he gives kind of a shaky smile at that.
I have a feeling that something bad is happening to the magic students right now. I wonder if she would not be safer with you at the moment.
If the safety of the child is what you desire, none would harm her in my presence. Of that I could assure you.
Would you be okay with that, Dedra?
She looks up to you and kind of like holds up her hands and then like opens and closes them.
She picks her up.
She leans into you.
I'd prefer to keep you both close at hand for the time being. But I do need to figure out what's going on with whatever's happening with those students. I have a very bad feeling. Well, for them.
Then, perhaps for the moment I could stay here with young Dedra. I doubt whatever's happening would breach these walls. And should anything untoward happen, they would die upon entering this room.
Like the sound of that. I may end up, reaching out to you again in time if I discover anything. Alright, you stay here with Dedra. I'm gonna go figure out what's going on out there. I'll be back soon.
Come, young Dedra. Let us redecorate.
Please. Oh my goodness, it's too bright. It's like the sun in here.
And Dedra nods. And with that, as you kind of like set her down, the guide would hold out his hand. His fingers not necrotically blackened. She would take his hand, kind of like grab like with her like 3 fingers around his pinky. And they would start to make their way over to a wall, at which point he would cast a hand out and the wall would immediately start to crackle and crack with this, using his energies to basically kill what pigments are in the paint and just kind of shatter it off the wall.
Amazing. And Nara will head out to go see what's going on.
All right. So you head back out into the halls. Do you head straight out to the streets, or do you go to try to contact anybody before you do?
I would try and see if anyone in the school is talking about what's going on.
Give me a perception check.
21.
Sure enough, in the lobby, the halfling that you met on your way in is currently talking to a few other staffers. You can hear him. Yes, Master Thurfian walked over. He asked for the list right away, and the look on his face, it gave me the chilly willies.
And that's the one who zipped up the stairs?
Thurfian was the one who zipped up the stairs. This is the halfling is the one that you met on your way in when you came to see Dedra.
Okay.
Who? So you gave the list. You gave the list to who?
Oh, yes, I have the list. I gave it to Master Thermian, and he... Well, I assume he was reading it for a reason. He seemed quite upset. Was everything well with young Dedra? Where's the companion that you came in with?
The guide is up there with her. He will be staying for a little while.
It's a little unorthodox.
I need to go see about where those students might be.
That still doesn't answer my primary concern with the situation.
And what is your primary concern?
Well, the one you came in with, he was, how do I put this in words that are not... He was deathly?
Yes, he is the guide. For death.
Yes, that doesn't make me feel much better.
He's like a, what is it? An acolyte or something of Mother Death?
You can see his jaw begin to slacken more and more the more you describe exactly what his position is.
Listen, Dedra is like important to me and stuff, so he's gonna make sure she's okay, and I'm gonna go check on those students that I believe are still missing and see if they're okay. And when I find out what's happened, I'll come back and the guide will leave. Got it?
Give me a... Are you trying to persuade him or intimidate him?
Oh, she's just stating facts. I mean, if this is intimidate, then sure.
I mean, he does find you intimidating at this point, but persuasion, go ahead.
15.
Okay. He seems defeated.
Great. I'm, gonna go on a little, actually, where did, Thurfian go? Can I go talk to him? Is that possible right now?
Thermian went to his office. It's on the 7th floor.
Want to direct me there so I get there fast? Please.
Points up.
Just gets on her pixie stick and slowly, like, still having eye contact, floats straight up.
Finding his office isn't too difficult. The staff offices, like there appear to be a few of them on the 7th floor. The 8th floor includes Daenerys and his dreamatorium. But you find his office. It kind of has one of those. It's like a stained glass window on front. Appears to be like there's like a tiger stripe ball at the center of it, and off each side appears to be kind of like a wispy figure, kind of fanning out from each end of that ball. There's a bunch of like glowing orbs of light that appear to be flowing around that room.
Oh, and before she leaves, goodness, I cannot remember his name. She just mentions very casually,
Also, don't seem like a threat. He'll kill anyone that comes in there, and seems like they're gonna be bad.
That's an intimidation.
now we can roll it. 21.
Yeah, he rolled a 3. He's just like, what? As you float away.
Doppler effect. Whoop.
By the way, don't go in or you'll die.
Yep.
But yes, you find Thermian's door as it's the lights are kind of like flickering inside.
She'll go to the door and listen quietly before knocking.
Give me a stealth check.
Probably gonna fail because I want it to work. 14.
All right, and give me an Arcana check.
Okay. 17.
The door does appear to be warded. If you were to stick your ear up to it, or maybe even get within a certain distance of it, there would be a notification. Like he would, there's like an alarm spell triggered around the door, basically.
Huh.
So you know not to get too close to it if you want to listen to him.
I do.
With that, give me perception with disadvantage.
Crumbles.
Just because of the distance you have to be. That's
31,
absurd.
31, 31, 31, 31.
God
I'm fine
damn.
with it.
Nara's just destroying your game right now.
Oh, like-
It's
Apparently,
really fun.
rolled a 19 and a 20. That's amazing.
I was really hoping that would happen, so I'm really glad it did.
You know what? You got it.
Thanks.
As you can hear him, like, panic stepping around the room. He doesn't appear to be talking to himself.
Mm-hmm.
But every now and again, like, he will pause. You'll hear kind of like the scribbles of... it sounds like one material scraping against another. Like he's trying to shave maybe some like metal filings off something, or some like scraping something to get like the dust off of something else. And then he'll start like pacing around again. Now you're kind of hearing the tink of glass. It's like he's gathering things and starting to kind of like put them together in some form of either concoction or ritual.
Okay, so he's getting spell ingredients together.
You can hear the sound of pouring liquid right now. Like liquid being poured into kind of a shallow pan. like a shallow receptacle.
Okay. Okay.
Now you hear him walking around some more. Again, like a lot of these sounds are just kind of like repeating.
Okay. Based on the things that I'm hearing and the order that I'm hearing them in, would Nara, having magical background, being around Denier, seeing him do things for spells, would she have any idea of what he would be trying to do based on the sounds that she is hearing?
Okay, so you are hearing sounds and trying to determine what kind of magic he might be doing. That'll be Arcana with disadvantage.
13?
13? Could be a lot of things. He could potentially be mixing a potion of sorts. Like what he could be doing is alchemy. He could be like there are so many different things that require like liquid basis and like powders and things like that to know exactly what he's doing without any visual aspect to this, if this is in fact a spell, would be kind of difficult to tell.
Okay. She will continue listening, and while also trying to find a convenient place to like be in the shadow.
Okay, so you want to not basically be floating outside of the railing like you're currently doing?
Yes.
Got you.
While also being aware that there is like a ward present. So she's wanting to stay within earshot for as long as humanly possible, but then if it sounds like he's going to come out, find a spot to like not be seen or just like dip down or whatever.
Gotcha. You find a space. You see that the spots that are alarmed, there's kind of like a patch of the flooring outside of his door that if anything steps on it, he would get a note. Like he would know. The door itself, if anybody touched it, he would know. And if anything blocks the light of the window, he would know.
Okay.
So you're able to kind of like swing around the side of the door and listen in from that wall over there. You do start to hear him mutter something.
Okay.
It appears to be an incantation of sorts.
Have I heard this incantation before? Does it sound familiar to me from like what I've heard from Denier and whatnot?
It might actually. Give me an Arcana check.
19.
He is casting Scry.
Oh, okay. Okay, so she's definitely going to be listening very closely at this point.
He casts for a moment. You hear a hand slam against a wooden desk. He pauses. He begins casting again. Each time he's casting, by the way, it takes 10 minutes.
Yep.
So once he starts casting a second time.
Just to give you a heads up, Lenny, the area that I casted would not be triggerable by Scry. So if he's finding corpses, it would be the other corpses instead of the corpse tree.
Well, there are also parts of the body that are unaccounted for.
True.
That's what I figured.
Do you wait the additional 10 minutes, Nara?
Oh, yeah. She is doing full-on reconnaissance right now.
At the end of this 10 minutes, you hear a shatter against the wall that you're closest to.
She stays very still, unfazed.
You hear a series of splintering wood and breaking glass inside of the room. And then the door beside you gets thrown open.
Did I find that spot to hide?
There isn't really a corner to hide behind. The door beside you has just swung open. It pulls open from the inside. So you're just standing next to this door that just opened, basically.
Well, fuck. Hang on, let me check one thing. I'm gonna... Are there any, like, critters, little pests, creatures that are inside of this building, like rats or gnats or lizards or something like that that scurry around the halls at all?
Some students have familiars. Some students... I mean, like, there are magical animals around these halls.
Okay, then she would, polymorph into a, oh shit, can she? In the school? Would she know that?
Your powers are sorceress by nature, so you will need to make a charisma check with a like you have to beat a certain DC in order to pull your powers out.
I know what to do. So there are these pillar things, right? Right next to either side.
What do you mean?
You said there are things on either side of the door, correct?
No. Like, it's the doorway, and then, like, it's just kind of like a curved space around you, because you're kind of at, like, the upper walkway of the spiral staircase that continues upward if you travel across the hall a little bit more. There is a hallway that leads further into the tower across from the door that just opened, but at the moment there isn't really a good place to hide. You could try to dart down the stairs.
You know what? At this point, she's just gonna stand there.
Okay. So that door just kind of like slams open, and he steps out into the hallway. Give me an insight with advantage, because he is not very well masked up right now.
27, natural 20.
Oh!
I know exactly what his brain is doing.
There is a fury in his eyes. Not only is there a fury in his eyes, like it's a deep-seated rage. This feeling within him, to the point that he has forgotten something very important. As you glance over him, a strange detail strikes you. This man's got 2 left hands.
Oh, shit.
The 2 left hands.
I found the spot.
A man with 2 left hands!
Rakshasa.
He looks very angry right now. Like, he's just kind of like staring out over the building. Let's see, you had a 14 stealth, and just a moment later,
I have a... Okay.
He notices you. And he looks at you, and he looks at you. He sees that you're looking at him, and he sees that you're, like... He sees that you've seen him. And his expression drops. Asmo and Denier.
Mm-hmm.
You've made your way to the farm. Actually, at this point, I think we should take... fuck it. We'll just keep going. We started late. We'll just keep it going. Asmo and Denier, you've made it to the farmhouse.
Are there any chairs near the entrance? The front door?
He has a like the family seems to have like a lovely deck built out front. Like it's almost like southern plantation like, where there's like a nice awning over top.
That's what I assumed.
With
All
like
right.
a sort of like a widow's walk, and you have like a kind of a seating space outside where they might take in some nice drinks during the day.
Hey, Asmo. Sorry, Asmo.
Yes,
sorry,
Asmo.
No, I'm in my own head right now. Sorry.
Denier, have a seat. I need you to be all... I'm trying to keep your voice down until, if I need to make it known that I'm not alone, because someone's demeanor might change.
Winky face. Is there a table beside a chair?
Yeah, there's a table where, you know, somebody might set a drink or something, or like
Perfect, Asmo.
an aperitif during the day.
Perfect. Asmo sits down the giant jug. Just kind of listen to Denier.
If you can make a mug of it yourself out of your magic, that could be pretty funny, too. We have a lot of times. We have time's the essence right now, but depending on who's inside this house, it's going to depend on what we do here. So, just Asmo saying this before he steps up the stairs, sit over there, put down the drink, and just wait there while I do my thing.
Fair enough. I'm trying to get some more information on these missing kids.
Perfect. Convey it if we need to, and keep it on the down low until I give you the signal to make your presence known. But you can just stay there.
And Asmo's going to try... Just kind of gestures Charlie to the left of the front door for posterity's sake. So Asmo's just kind of like here. And Asmo sets down the jug. I'm assuming Denier has a sit down real quick, and Denier just goes into his like meditation pose. So Asmo then... Oh, shit. Come on! Sorry. Asmo then goes up to the door and just... I know what I did.
As you knock on the door, a few moments pass, and a young half-elf girl answers the door. Hello?
Hello. I'm the local sheriff. Is a parent home right now?
A parent? Oh, you're looking for Master Greenfringe or Lady Greenfringe?
You know what? Master Greenfringe or Lady Greenfringe, whomever you can bring to the front door first would be perfect.
Sure thing. I'll go.
You can tell them it's the local sheriff if you can.
Absolutely. She seems to recognize you. She seems to know who you are.
Oh, Asmo looks very stark. He stands out.
Yeah, you do.
Mm-hmm.
She offers, like, would you like to step in out of the cold and rain?
No, I'm good right here. Thank you for inviting, though.
Okay, I'll go fetch someone for you real quick. And she wanders inside, and you hear, Master Auric, Lady Olga, as she walks in.
Ulrich and Olga, I heard?
Yeah, Auric and Olga.
Auric and Olga.
A few moments pass outside, and who do you get? The man of the house steps out. He's a weathered human man.
Roughly what age? I could tell because he's a farmer, you know.
Yeah, he's got the tan skin of somebody who worked the fields in his 20s and 30s. He's probably in his late 40s right now, especially now that he's gotten the money that Yumberry's brought in. Funny enough, you recognize him as the man who T-Wig assisted with their corn harvest.
Mm.
Can I help you? Lord, Sheriff Asmo? What do you prefer?
Sheriff Asmo works. Lard is for someone who does much more paperwork than I do. I unfortunately come to you, Mr. Greenfringe, with some bad news that's slowly getting worse. And I'm coming to you to talk to you very directly about this. I have uncovered a crime that has taken place on your property.
What sort of crime?
I have to ask you a couple of questions before I can give you specific details of such a question. Forgive me, this is my job, and I respect you, which is why I come and knock on your door. I didn't enter your space. I'm staying outside of it.
Do what we can to help with the local law.
Now, yesterday, last night, and this morning, did you hear any loud voices, yelling, screaming, if you will, of any kind, at any distance, that you have heard from your home or from your workspaces?
Loud noises last night? None that would have woken me. None that came to my attention last evening.
I see. Well, unfortunately, through my investigation of the crime that's taken place, I uncovered something else, too.
Asmo just kind of reaches over. This big jug. He pulls out the jug.
Would you look at that? That's a lot of juice.
Whoa.
That's a lot of juice. Have you seen this bottle before?
No, I haven't.
Can I insight that?
Yeah.
I'll do that as well.
Soft 20 and a nat 20.
Oh, yeah, that's good shit.
Oh my goodness, what is today?
He seems to know exactly what the substance is. He seems to know exactly what it is.
You know what this stuff is, right?
It's yumberry liquor.
It is. It is. I just want to know how stupid you think I'm going to be by trying to lie to me about not knowing what this is. The problem is, Asmo just turns, kind of just points, just turns a little bit, kind of shielding where Daenerys is for the positioning. It kind of points, because we can see the storage shed from where we're standing, correct?
It's a bit of a ways away, and it's a lot darker now that it's raining. There's even some lightning in the distance.
I kind of piled up all of the bottles I found in your storage shed. 10!
You found
10.
it in my shed?
10 giant bottles of yumberry juice inside your shed. And you're not knowledgeable about that, are you? Now, granted, you see right here it says grow. Unfortunately, it's not growth elixir. This is yumberry juice, as you can tell by the color. But it seems that someone has played you for a fool, sir.
Well, it's got to be one of those new farmhands I hired. They you know, the youth are always looking for shortcuts.
How many people have you hired recently?
Oh, for the festival season? Oh, jeez, I must have brought on at least 10.
I see. Yeah, that's the problem here is we have circumstantial evidence because I don't know you that well. I think I met you briefly when you helped out a old comrade of mine, T-Wig, correct? Name ringing a bell?
Oh, yeah. The little metal feller that helped make my corn talk.
Yeah, that's druids for you, right? The problem is, I don't want to sit here and accuse you of illegally funneling drugs or illegally producing drugs, because I have fat memory of you in that regard. However, people can change, and if you're telling me right now that you had nothing to do with this, I'll take that as face value.
Well, look, I'm not going to say that I haven't imbibed before.
Oh, that's the most honest thing you've said yet. A lot of people have. It's fine.
Asmo holds up his hand.
It's okay. You're being honest with me right now, but someone thought it was clever enough to That you see that storage shed over there? You see that pile of bottles I put outside there? That's all the bottles we found inside your storage shed, which was still locked.
In the
So
shed?
whoever- In the shed. So whomsoever had a key had access to placing those there. Now I gotta be honest with you here, and you're gonna find it very bewildering how I framed this. Because someone has played you for a fool, Mr. Green Fringe.
Well, I'll look. I can get you a list of the people that I hired on, and
Oh, I would be very much happy with that. I will definitely need that list from you ASAP at the end of this conversation, but my investigation of another crime uncovered this. This is separate from what I was doing.
another crime.
Yeah, now I keep saying someone's made a fool of you, and it's not necessarily berry juice. The edge of your property, there's a giant tree by the road, at the end of that pathway over there by the storage shed. You familiar with it?
Yeah, I used to love going down there. Wife and I would have picnics sometimes.
Asmo just kind of like bites his lip a little bit.
At an unknown time, last night or this morning, someone used that area to stage a ritual murder.
You see the genuine worry in his face of like whatever, like, you know, all of the accusations that were flooding through his head of, you know, potentially getting arrested for holding a bunch of illegal liquor and stuff like that seems to fade away in an instant and is replaced with shock.
And unfortunately, it's not just one murder, it's multiples.
His legs start to kind of give out, and he kind of like leans back and just finds a seat behind him. Out, and he points towards the dome of fog.
Nah, it's
Sweet,
one of
merciful
our...
Lady Death.
The woman I love worships her too. And unfortunately, Sweet Mercy Death took several people last night. So when I say someone has made a fool of you, they used your property to do a ritual murder of potentially multiple children.
And Asmo does not break a stare at his eyes when he says that.
His face grows paler.
Now, the unbury's not an issue. And when I asked if you heard anything last night, I wanted to know if in the end you heard anything and thought it was nothing. You live in a city. We hear yells sometimes. The way it is. So I ask you again, did you hear or see anything out of the ordinary that gave you any pause at all last night?
I didn't hear any screams or nothing.
Okay. Now, don't think I'm being suspicious or accusing you of lying to me. I'm genuinely asking for information. But finding that either one of your employees or what's going on here involves drugs makes me a bit curious. Curious about a couple of things, Mr. Fringe. Can I tell you what those things are so you can think about it too?
He's
This is for your
kind
own
of
benefit.
he kind of looks at you in a state of like he's in a dream right now, but he nods towards you.
Now tell me, in the city, with many people hating mages, some people hating the people who hate mages, in all that regard, I don't know where you fall on that, and even if you tell me, I don't know if I can fully believe it, because my job is to scrutinize and not trust a single person, as you know.
Asmo's just kind of gesturing, trying to be Jasmo's trying to be nice, kind of a little bit right now. Like the suspicious I'm giving you, this is what I would give anybody, kind of energy.
Right.
So, I need to know, and this is a very uncomfortable pill to swallow, and a question, and honestly, a difficult question to ask, depending on what the answer is. Do you know of anyone who would be perfectly okay with your life being derailed by placing all these things on your property. I'm talking ex-employees, business partners, and people who don't like you for whatever innocuous reason. Because I just found 2 crimes taking place on the same space, one completely separate of the other, as far as I know right now. But as far as I'm concerned right now, the fact that multiple murders have taken place only a couple 100 feet away from a deposit of illegal drugs leads me to believe that it was either intentional to be found, because the pathway I walked along, as we're just pantomimes with his feet, led right to that cabin, led right to that storage facility, where a bunch of things were missing, including your wheelbarrow.
Like that last part seems to like kind of stick in his mind just a little bit, like it's a really odd thing out. My wheelbarrow?
Yeah, I kicked in the door of your storage shed. I figured you could handle that as a storage shed, and you can always put another piece of wood up and fix it. And granted, given the circumstances with murder afoot, I think a broken door isn't that big of a deal to deal with, wouldn't you say?
I don't. I mean, God, I don't know anybody who'd hate me that much. I mean, my brother-in-law doesn't like me too much, none, but...
Oh, that's family, but what's your brother-in-law's name, exactly?
I mean, Hans Bolgen.
That name, not familiar at all.
Not really. I mean, you could give me a history check, but there's no severe criminal background associated with that name.
Also, I was just thinking about if he's like one of the like just landowners around here, right?
No, doesn't appear to be, or at least nobody of immediate distinction in your mind, unless you want to give a history check.
I can, but man, that -1, man, that -1 int is like really just 7. No, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, he might have a record somewhere that you could look up, but he's nobody of any real prominence in the town.
What does your stepbrother look like?
My brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law, sorry.
Oh.
Kinds of brothers.
He's got thin golden hair. He's a bit balding up there now. He doesn't like mentioning it. Fit about, yay tall. Kind of holds his hand at about the 5'8" range, 5'10" range. I can't imagine he'd hate me this much. He'd only bring trouble for his sister. He loves her.
Asma just sits there quietly, just letting the guy kind of catch his breath a little bit from everything.
Why would he kill people?
Like, you can tell he's kind of trapped in his own head right now.
Nah, I'm just asking questions right now. I'm just asking why someone would stage a murder of all places right here. Just so happened to be 100 feet away from a storage of illegal drugs that you, as you claim, were ignorant of the existence of.
I didn't have nothing to do with them. I swear, I didn't kill nobody.
Asma holds up his hand. Asma just holds up his hand,
Just clarifying everything I can the best I can in the circumstances. I need you to give me that list of your new employees, however.
Yeah, I can go grab my ledger. One sec.
He's like really pressing up. You can tell one of his knees is a little worse than the other one as he pushes himself up out of his seat. And he kind of scrambles into his house. Olga, where's my ledger?
Asma just sits there with his arms crossed. Asma just kind of looks over at Daenerys and gives him a look of like, just kind of like, I don't know about this.
Daenerys stares back. There's a look of concern, worry, and anger in his eyes right now.
Like, God instincts tell me this guy's just innocent in it, but part of me wonders if someone got the job. Asper's kind of whispering it, though. Someone got the job and just happened to do it on their way to work that day. And just so happens, because if they're not above murder, drug dealing's next to nothing compared to that. So I think these 10 employees are going to be quite interesting, especially when we cross-reference it with the 3 faces we have. I have a nagging feeling that if there's no match there, well, at least we cross that off. For now. But I have something else I want to accomplish here. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, a few moments later, Arik comes out the door, and he hands you what looks to be a weathered leather ledger. That's a fun tongue twister.
Oh, weathered leather ledger. That is... Ooh, you found a new one. Weathered, leathered ledger. That's... Okay. Got a new tongue twister for me to work on. All right.
Yeah.
That's quite the leathered ledger.
God, almost got it.
Weathered leather ledger. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's... Oh, man, that's tricky, even the first pass.
All right, these are the names of the 10 you've hired.
They're in there near the back. I just, I want to make sure that everything in there is on the up and up for you, just to show you that I'm not selling that stuff.
No, that's the big thing why I came to you immediately. Because as far as I'm concerned, you'd be an idiot to stage a murder on your own property if you were the person doing it. Because then that's a good way to get me to knock on your door. So, my mind was taking me to a place that someone tried to set you up and ruin your goddamn day and placed a bunch of goddamn drugs to somehow almost connect it to the drug dealings that have been going on with this berry juice. Now, I know, but it's my job to investigate every possible thing here. And these names, there we go, there they are.
Asmo kind of just reads the names down real quick. Can he, like, put it to memory, possibly, or does he need to copy them?
I don't have all 10 names written out.
Okay,
in
so
my notes right now, so you have the ledger.
I got you one minute. Tell you what you can do for me. You can do a couple things for me right now. I need you to do 3 things for me, if you can. Would you be willing?
Okay.
Given the circumstances? There seems to be some things missing from your storage shed. Whoever last was in charge, or whoever last has the key, should definitely be brought to my attention, especially if it's one of these 10.
Is
it one of these 10?
Key. Well, I keep a key on me at all times, but...
Are there multiple keys?
There are 3. I keep one. Euler, my foreman, he's my main guy. He always has one. He's in the ledger. You'll see. He's been on staff for a few years now.
Euler, okay. And the 3rd?
Oh, that one just kind of goes out to whoever needs it at the time.
Who's in charge of distributing that key, you or Euler?
Usually it's at my behest, but during times of great need, it's Euler.
Okay. So it's safe to say you don't know the location of the 3rd key currently, yes?
I mean, everybody was off for the festival. Euler's gonna be back tomorrow, so I can ask him.
Where did Euler go?
Oh, I assume he went home to his family.
Doesn't live here on the farm working?
I mean, he works here from dawn to dusk when I need him, but that's not, all the time.
Does he live inside the city?
Yeah.
What does Euler look like?
Oh, big feller.
He kind of holds his hand up around like the 6'2", 6'3" range.
Built like an ox. He's got
Kind of like holds his hand out to like his ear,
about hair down to yonder, and it's
Hair down to how far?
about ear's length.
Okay, now, based on the multiple nights beforehand where the group of guys crowded around, the pictures we were given by the psychic, is that description matching one of them?
So far it doesn't seem to, especially as he says that his hair color is kind of a mid-brown to light brown in the sunlight.
Okay. Thank you for this information. It is unfortunate. We don't know full details, but looks like someone clearly has something out against you. Or at least doesn't mind if something bad befalls you. Now, as far as it's concerned, I'm going to give you a solid 48 hours to clean up this site of any yumberry juice, because if there's 10 bottles found in a storage shed that close to the crime scene, if that's an isolated incident, well, that makes it even more curious to me. But my thinks maybe some of your new employees have stashed a bunch of it around everywhere. At least they're but the worst thing is they're robbing you of your...
I'll make sure that there's a thorough sweep.
I see that you do for your own sake. Because right now my business is not tracking down leads for a drug crime. It's just dealing with the fact that 2 people be murdered on your property.
Right.
Now, your neighbors. I need to ask you about the the farms on either side of you here. Close with them?
Oh. I mean, there's a bit of competition, but it's never been fraughtful. There's more than enough land here to grow everything that we need. Everybody seems happy and comfortable. Don't really ask about their business. They tend to stay out of mine.
Standard of fare. I have to ask you an uncomfortable question that I need you to answer me honestly on, because there's the third thing I need you to help me with here. Your partner, Mrs. Fringe. Where was she last night?
My wife, Olga? Well, she and I were... she was selling some baked goods at the festival. I was helping her pack up stuff from there. We got home, retired fairly early.
How did you enjoy the festivities?
He seems unsure how to answer that given his current situation. Like, any joy is like a foreign concept to him right now.
Honestly, hard to say now. I think we had a good time, but
Can I insight that specifically?
Yeah, go for it.
Soft 20.
I mean, he's not hiding anything with that statement. He's simply just kind of at a loss for words. It's clear that he's emotionally shocked right now.
Yeah.
Like, his property, from what you just told him, children were killed either on his property or near his property, and somebody has been selling moonshine on his property or storing moonshine on his property.
I'm probably gonna have to come back and ask more questions later on, Mr. Fringe. Just because I have to do more of a thorough search. Do I have your permission to search around your farm?
of course.
I'm going to be questioning all 10 of your new employees as well. Is that going to be a problem?
No, it shouldn't be an issue. Miss
Not from you.
Darvis. Miss Darvis can help you with anything as well. She's
That's the half-elf?
yeah, she's she helps out around the place. She's our attendant.
Okay. Well, Mr. Fringe, I would advise that once the rain lets up, you go take care of that yumberry and pour it out.
You lot can take all that if you want. I mean, if it's evidence, I don't.
I don't even know what it is. All I know is it's 10 bottles of yumberry juice found in a storage shed 100 feet from a murder site.
As was like being very clear that is very odd. that's like very uniquely odd in this scenario.
So, are you actively telling him to destroy what could be evidence?
No, it's just like take care of searching around. I'm sorry. I'm in my own head. I'm thinking about a million possibilities here, real quick here with this. So, Asmo's like, well, I'm gonna send some guys to clean it up. So, just FYI, don't worry too much about them grabbing stuff out of that shed. But maybe you should try and find that wheelbarrow. And if you happen to be missing an axe of any of your sheds or barns, I'm gonna need you to inform the local constabulary of that specifically, because a weapon was found. An item was found.
You can see visions of horror kind of flashing before his eyes as you say that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And also, the last favor I can ask of you is to be mindful, and once this information comes out, it's going to spread everywhere where people know about this has happened. But someone tried to make you farmers a fool. And I don't know what their intention was fully. But too many things are too coincidental here. However, your honest, empathetic reaction to everything leads me to believe you. That being said, you might be a crafty liar. Asmo kind of smiles when he says that, almost winks a little bit. He has to say it.
As you say that, he like looks up and like there's again this look of horror across his face, this deep-seated no.
It's also like just like wink. He's like this part of the process here. So I'm gonna converse with your Miss Darvis, and if you'd like, she can run information just to and from me as well, for anything that happened here. But the one thing I want to do is get to the bottom, to make sure that blame does not fall on someone who is innocent. I think we can both agree to that.
Yes, of course. If there's anything else you need from me, how is there a way that we can keep the public from knowing about the grisly acts on my land?
And that would be what the smoke is for. And if you could step out for a second here. Asmo just kind of steps back. You want to step out and get some fresh air here for a second. And this is where Asmo's going to reveal that Janir was sitting right beside the door the whole time.
Oh, hello.
Full-on Gendo Hikari pose. Afternoon.
It's from the local Mages Guild. And from the city council.
I recognize you from some of the events in town. Headmaster Denier, right?
That is correct.
Pleasure.
The local constabulary requested my assistance.
Now, silly question. I'm asking above game here, Lani, and this is my forgetfulness on this. I apologize. What we were handed by the psychic child, it was pictures of these characters, correct? The people who were having that meeting. Who has that? I don't know if I have it. I don't know if Denier has it.
I wasn't even at that scene.
Okay, so
It would either be you or Urf at this point.
can we say I still have it on me?
Yeah.
And finally, before we leave, Asma pulls out the paper. Do any of these men look at all? Do any of these people ring any bells?
He pulls a pair of bifocals from his shirt pocket and puts them on. He points to the man with the missing eye and the mutton chops.
I think I've seen him around.
Around where? Exactly.
I think he was one of the guys that we brought on. Do you think he had something to do with this?
Here's what I need you to do right now. This conversation, Asma takes it back. Do you know his name? Asma pulls out the ledger. Can you put a name to this man right now?
I know you hired 10 guys on. If you could, if it just know right now that you're helping us.
He goes through the ledger, and he points at one name in the ledger.
I think this was him.
It says Bergen, Burgen. And then he points to like why he recognized him.
He was our carpenter. He helped build my wife's stand.
Do I know what he means by stand?
He mentioned that she was selling baked goods at the festival.
Stand at the festival.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did he come recommended by somebody? Did he come and just ask for employment?
Oh, jeez.
I'm really grilling this dude. I feel bad. I'm really grilling this dude.
The man who helped me acquire all this land, Mr. Lone Grop, he,
Oh, Mr. Is that the guy I was... the asthma was like...
Yeah,
The guy was sitting above-
Figer Lone Grop.
he recommended when I said I was looking for somebody to help me build a stand, he mentioned that this man right here, Mr. Bergen, he was a fine carpenter, and he did a good job. He built a good stand. Is he a... Oh, God.
Now, hold on. No. Just a quick question. Again for you here, because you've already helped us out immensely. Trust me. I need to know, now, when you were looking for help here, is that when Mr. Lone Grop approached you with putting forward Bergen's name, or was that specifically for the task of building a stand at the festival?
Well, Mr. Lone Grop was over, God, about maybe a moon or so ago.
About a month or so back.
And,
Yeah,
you know, we were just having a little dinner get-together between the families, and mentioned my wife might want to, you know, have a stand, and that's when he mentioned Mr. Bergen.
Suggested hiring on Mr. Bergen. Did Mr. Bergen do work here, not just building the stand in the town, but did he do work on your property?
Oh, he had to come by a few times to talk about materials needed, but he never worked the fields or nothing.
Did he now? Now, quick question. Did your foreman Euler mostly work with him?
No, he never had to work with him at all. He had no reason to work the fields.
Did your Miss Darvis work with him?
I don't believe so. Maybe in coordinating supplies and
He looks suspiciously inside.
Do you think she had something to do with this?
Before I opened the door and had this conversation with you, I assumed you had something to do with this. Unfortunately, I don't want to assume anything, especially when it comes to this, but you've already given me a very juicy piece of information. And I want you to know you've already helped us out a lot.
Anything I can do.
Well, what you can do is, when is Mr. Bergen due back to work here? Is that you're done working with him now?
I mean, he's settled what he was going to do for us. Hopefully I never have to see the man ever again with these implications.
Well, if you happen to see him again, we didn't have this conversation.
Okay.
Because, and that's for your safety's sake. Because until such time as we cross him off, gotta make sure everything's okay.
He starts to kind of like shiver as he nods.
It's cold and maybe you should go inside for the day. And I will advise you avoid the smokestack over there, and all your employees avoid the smoke over there. The fog, if you will.
I think that might be for the best.
I think it might be for the best as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Fringe. And I do apologize for ruining your month.
He just nods as he walks inside.
Oh, and one last thing. Gotta keep having them. Your wife. Ask her if, at your convenience, if Mr. Bergen said anything strange to her. Be good, since she communicated with him. But I think I've bothered you folks enough right now.
I'll ask her.
Yeah,
And
she'll be good.
he wanders
Fringe.
inside. You too.
Asmo turns and kind of looks at Daenerys and nods, grabs the giant jug, and Asmo immediately, as he's walking down the steps,
Here's what I need you to do. Here's what I'm gonna need right now. As far as I'm concerned, his wife is now a suspect. Direct communication with one of the 3 people we have official faces on. His name is Bergen. So now you got a face and now you got a name, Daenerys.
Let me see that ledger real quick. I gotta check something.
Absolutely.
Asmo hands it over there, but kind of covers it with his hands a little bit because there's rain out. So,
Lani, are any of my students on this list?
On your ledger?
On
On
this
the
ledger? Did any of them have like a part-time job for him?
Good question, but it does not seem that way.
Okay. I wanted to rule out in case they were just here working and it was an active circumstance.
Let us cut back to Nara, who is face to face with essentially a demon at this point.
essentially.
You stand staring across from Thermian Haslafar. He looks down at his hand, and immediately an illusion goes over it.
Can I help you?
I was just gonna ask if it's okay that we redecorate Dedra's room. I didn't know you could redecorate hands. That's cool.
The friendly demeanor seems to have dropped from his face.
She's still acting like nothing is wrong and she can't read social cues.
The
Whether
young
or not he
lady-
buys that, not sure.
The young lady may decorate her room how she wishes. Is there something I can help you with?
I was also gonna ask, there was a list I was asking for earlier about missing students.
What of them?
I just have this bad feeling and I didn't know if they were okay, and I wanted to see if you knew anything about where they might be.
One of them is blocked from my sight, another one is dead.
What? Blocked from your sight, and one is dead?
I cannot see one of them, and another one is dead.
What kind of dead?
Disemboweled, dismembered, and scattered.
Huh.
How does he seem like he is withholding attacking her? Does he seem like he is angry on behalf of missing students? What can I insight this?
Go ahead.
Like how his demeanor is right now. 20.
He seems very on edge. He's intelligent and his rage is targeted. But if you gave him a reason, he might attack you.
Right.
And
Nara
you
is being cool as a
s-
cucumber right now.
You also get the sense from his demeanor and just from, I don't know, his general reiatsu, his general aura, that he's not somebody you would want to fight alone.
Got it. Pick that up. Without anything needing to be said.
Gotcha. Just making sure that that's,
Aware.
yeah.
Do you have any idea who would do something like that?
The minds of man are horrible playgrounds.
He looks down over the halls.
They fear what they can't control. They fear what they do not understand. And they fear that which has more power than them.
Yeah, I know a thing about that. For sure. Hmm. Do you have any idea where the bodies are? I want to go investigate.
There's one I haven't checked on yet. But the bodies themselves are scattered.
Hmm.
The pieces.
Did
Tell
you?
me something.
Hmm.
There's a reading I've gotten from you. I can see into the eyes of another killer. How would you feel about a little hunt?
She smiles.
And he smiles back. And here is where we will end tonight's session.